All right, so I'm going to take the top manifold off, insert the GKtech spacer, and what that's going to do is going to increase the volume here, but most importantly, it's going to allow these two front cylinders to breathe nicer by increasing the air. I'm pretty sure that's the big gain from this, is that these two cylinders breathe better, because if obviously there's way more volume for these two sets than the front two. But one thing I've learned with these is that the throttle body is very finicky. So every time I work on this, hopefully it's the last time I have to take that thing off, I disconnect the negative terminal. Basically anything that I'm unplugging, if I have to unplug it, I will take the negative terminal off for the Nissans, because you have to do a big song and dance to calibrate that thing again. I think mine's out, but it's not out that much. Runs and drives perfectly fine, so I want to leave it that way at the bare minimum. All right, so I've made it this far. Be aware that at the bottom of my intake, there is a hose attached to it, which I didn't know last time, and I was yanking on it, so just be careful with that. I'm just going to take the top manifold off, top plenum rather, and see how I've seen people do it. The only questions I have is, how do you handle these coolant hoses? There's one here and then there's one on the back, and you can only really access it, from what I can tell, with taking that throttle body off. So I'm going to go ahead and try to take that off. My handy dandy sheet here that I made sure comes in handy, because now I know the bolts that have to come off. I'm going to start with 18 and work my way back to the 1, and that's how I'm going to do it. So without further ado, let's get to it. There's my trusty board. Even though we're not going to be using this anymore, if you don't have a Plenum spacer, even if you do, having something like this is vital to putting the bolts in the same area and the same sequence. So I do recommend that. I did take the top plenum off because I don't know what people do to keep that thing from flopping up and down and wrecking things. Like, I just want to do it properly. I don't want to half-ass it. So I took it off. Now, going back to the half-assing, I think I'm going to reuse this gasket, and it's not half-assing because I literally just replaced this. This doesn't even have 70 kilometers on it. And I'm pretty sure it's exact same material as the one they send, and this one looks mint. So I'm just going to reuse it. And if I have a problem, then I will suffer and I'll have to do this again. But I don't think that's going to be the case. They do send you... They send you the gaskets there. And like I said, I'm pretty sure it's like the exact same gasket. So I'm going to run with it and just have another gasket on hand if need be. This is the lower one, and then you got the outer edge one beneath it. So this one does have more rubber on it. I will say that. This one is a rubber-coated steel as well, steel gasket. From Mahali, I got that one. So here's this. I'm gonna have to make some room on here because it's all new hardware. So I'm gonna get to it here. You know what? I hum and hawed about it, and I just ended up throwing the GKtech gasket on it, even though the Mahali was literally brand new. This one did appear to be a little thicker, so maybe it's to take up more clearance, not issues, but the aluminum spacer isn't the manifold is what I'm getting at. So I'm just using exactly what the kit come with. No issues. It sucks, but it is what it is. I did follow, obviously, the instructions to a T. I still have to take the studs off here. It says to torque to 9 to 10 foot-pounds. I went to 9, perfectly fine. 10, I just didn't like the feel that the aluminum was giving me, so I just backed off. I left it at 9 foot-pounds. I know it's such a small difference, but these are aluminum, and I do not want to... The last thing I want to do is strip that bottom intake manifold. So, yeah, I did to 9. I'm going to do this step here soon. And what else was I going to tell you guys? I can't remember. But I'm sure it wasn't that important then. Oh, when you're torquing, this sequence, I personally do it in stages. That way, you know, if all the bolts are loose and you torque this one all the way down, well, this is going to have, you know, it's just physics, really. So I did it in 3 stages. I went to 60 foot-pounds, 90 foot-pounds. No, not foot-pounds. Do not do foot-pounds. I went to 60 inch-pounds, 90 inch-pounds, and then I did 110 inch-pounds, which 110 inch-pounds is the 9 foot-pounds there. So I have an inch-pound torque wrench. Make sure that your units are correct when you are retorquing it. Do not do foot-pounds. I have read on the forum some people take the inch-pound number and apply it to a foot-pound torque wrench, and of course they strip it right out because it's like almost a wheel torque spec into aluminum. So make sure you're doing that, and I would do it in stages. That way everything tightens really nicely down, and yeah, should be good to go. So I'm going to finish this up, do this, take the studs out. So I ran into a small hiccup. I was taking out my whole arsenal here to get the stud out. I finally got it out. I had to use 3 10mm bolts. The other one came out okay. This one was just a pain, and I did spray some penetrate oil in it. I didn't like that idea too much because there's a gasket sitting on it that's already torqued down. But I did what I had to do, man. So finally, it snapped free, and being stuck with a destroyed stud that won't come out is a no-go for me. So I'm gonna go ahead and take this off and clean up that area and continue. All right, studs are in on the sides, lightly hand tightened, I guess, based off their YouTube video that they have for it. Onto this step here. I hate doing this because you can't really get a proper torque, if you will, on it. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and get this done with these here and then the spacers. And apparently it is imperative on how they are placed. Lightly greasy O-rings too. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. All right, you guys are my star witnesses here. 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 2. See if we can get that 3 in there. Well, it's obviously a 3. 3, 2 4s, and O-rings lightly greased. On to the next step. Also, if you follow their video, they double nut these studs and you know, hand tighten them further down. So I just hand tightened it until it felt comfortable for me. And they also call the spacer an onion ring, so feel free to call it an onion ring. Good name. All right, on to the next step. Put the onion ring down. That's what I did. It is also tapered, so it's equalizing the air more, so it's thicker up here and thinner at the back. I just organized the bolts how I need them here. If you can see, obviously we got our nuts, which are up here. We got 3 30mm bolts. It looks like we got 8 40mm, and then we got the 170mm for number 9 up here by the throttle body. So let me get to it. All right, she's all torqued down. Man, it looks like it's larger, or higher rather, even in the video. It was easy except for this. I would just recommend unclipping this clip because you're stretching the factory harness. If you don't, because it is higher, right? So other than that, pretty good, but okay. Just that one hiccup with the stud. You know, I have 2 of these left, and I'm double guessing and double checking my work. I had to go back into my video just to count. There was 8, and here 1 2 3 4 5 6. So, you know, it is what it is, I guess. But pretty good. I'm gonna button her all up and start her up. Make sure everything's all good, and then take her for a little drive. All right, gonna do one final check to make sure. So I got some Z1 silicone hoses. I'm using that one back there. That's all on there, as you can see right there. Throttle body's plugged in, hose is connected, everything's good, tight. Go to this side. Last time I forgot to plug in, or not plug in, but connect the PCV hose here. So it looks like this one is not being good. I might have to fix that. But everything's good, so I'm gonna start her up and listen to some leaks, if any, hopefully not. All right, so far so good. She's revving at about 1500 RPM, which I think is normal for warm-up cycle. I don't hear anything, no hissing. So I'm gonna let her warm up, drop her down, and take her for a drive. I forgot to show you guys. Last step is reinstalling the factory strut, or whatever strut you guys have, and use those spacers there. So I'm gonna take them all out. I'm actually excited to put that thing back on. It's been a while since it's been off. So yeah, it does come with the spacers to reinstall this bad boy. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that here shortly. All right, guys. I'm trying to make a makeshift mount for you so you can see what's going on, but it's definitely added, I'd say, across the whole power band. The engine sounds way more aggressive. It spins like all of first gear. When you want to press the pedal and you're here, I'll just show you. See if it... Told you. Can't really see much, but I'll shut it off and I'll explain to you in the garage. Yeah, the Plenum spacers definitely added, if not power and torque, which I highly doubt, massive throttle response throughout the whole rev range. My car is an automatic, as you guys are already aware, and before it would spin the tires and catch probably halfway through the RPM band, and now it spins all of first throughout the RPM band. And if you're driving down a road and you want to tap the throttle from wherever you are, it's just an instant kind of, in your seat now, whereas before you'd kind of wait and it'd go, whoa, downshift and then go. Well, now it's just like this. So, yeah, I believe, the company GKtech and their estimate, or I guess it's not even an estimation, they dynoed it. 10 wheel to 14 wheel horsepower gain, and I can't remember the torque. The torque is around the same. So for 300 bucks is what I paid, Canadian. I think it was after shipping and duties and everything. It's a very good bang for buck modification, and not only that, but the front two cylinders are getting the proper airflow, so it's all around good. So yeah, highly recommend it. Highly recommend it. The one that I went with is GKtech. Heard nothing but good things, and they specialize in Nissan Zs, I think, like the whole spectrum. But that's all I have for you guys today. As always, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy the video, give it a thumbs up. Check out other videos on the channel, because there's a